Are y'all ready for some good old-fashioned country cooking? Because that is what we're doing this week. We have so much food to eat next week because it's Thanksgiving. So I'm just going to do a little bit of good old country cooking this week. And we're going to start out with making some chili. Now I'm making my Southern style chili. It's on my blog. I will leave the link to this recipe in particular on my down in the description box, but my blog is always linked in the description, so you can go and check out any recipe on there that you like. I have plenty of chili recipes on there. We love chili in the South, so I've got plenty of chili recipes. But we're going to start out with browning some ground beef. I got a little bit of avocado oil in my pot here, and we are browning up a pound of ground bison. But you can do whatever kind of meat that you like. You can do hamburger meat, not hamburger meat, but ground beef, ground turkey, ground chicken, ground bison. Whatever you have on hand will work just fine. So we are cooking this up. And this is almost done. Now, since my ground bison doesn't have a lot of fat to it, mostly this is just the water cooking off from the meat, I'm not going to drain it. But if you have a fattier meat, you can go ahead and drain it before we add in any of the other ingredients. Now I've got a ton of onions going in because I had some in the fridge that needed to be used up and I didn't want it to go bad. So we're just going to add all of that in here. They're just roughly chopped. You can chop them however you want. I'm going to season this up with a little bit of salt and pepper. Season to taste because you can always add more later. And I'm going to just stir this up and get these onions going. And now we're going to add in our spices. I've got some chili powder, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, some cumin, a little bit of red pepper flakes, and cayenne pepper. But you can add any kind of spice mix that you like. This is just our favorite. And we're going to let these spices kind of toast up for a little bit. For about 2 to 3 minutes. Sorry, you guys. My camera is still acting really weird. But what I did was I added in my ground beef, cooked that up until it was completely done with some avocado oil, and then I added in my onions and kind of stirred that around, added some salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, chili powder, a little bit of sugar, some red pepper flakes, cayenne pepper. I think that's it. And then just let that cook down for about 2 to 3 minutes until those spices bloomed. And then I added in 3 cloves of garlic and kind of tossed that around until it kind of released its flavor, about 30 seconds. Then I added in 1 can of tomato sauce, 1 can of water, and we are here now. So here I'm going to add in some tomato paste. I'm going to add probably about 2 to 3 tablespoons of tomato paste and get that all stirred in. Make sure that's nice and well mixed so we don't have any big old huge clumps of tomato paste, because that would be quite tomatoey to take a big old bite of. Okay, that feels right. All right. Now, here's where I am deviating from my recipe on my blog. The blog calls for stewed tomatoes and rotel tomatoes. I do not have any, so I'm using a big old giant can of diced tomatoes with the juice. And we're just going to mix this in. Now, if you have the stewed tomatoes and the rotel, use that. I forgot to pick some up at the grocery store, but that's okay. I've got plenty of diced tomatoes here, and it will work just fine. Okay, that looks nice and well mixed. I'm going to go in with some kidney beans. If you do not like beans in your chili, you don't have to add them. We're kind of hit and miss depending on what kind of flavor we're going for in the chili. But I've got 1 can of dark red kidney beans and 1 can of light red kidney beans that I've drained and rinsed. So we're going to add those in there. And we're just going to mix this together. This smells so good. It's a rainy day outside today, and it's just the perfect day for chili. It's just one of those comfy, cozy days where you just want to grab a bowl of chili and curl up by the fire and watch a good movie. But this smells so good. All right. So this is nice and well mixed. I'm going to bring this up to a boil, reduce the heat to low, cover it with the lid, and let this cook for about 1.5 to 2 hours. Depending, you don't have to cook it that long. It just depends on how thick you want your chili. You can just come in here, give it a stir every once in a while, and go to however thick you want your chili. So I'm going to let this go for between 1 to 2 hours, and I'll bring you back. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up, put a pan of cornbread on to cook, and then this should be done in about an hour and a half. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to move my lid up here so don't get too hot. And then, yeah, I'll show you what it looks like when it gets done. All right, y'all, here is my bowl of chili. You guys, if you like chili, you're going to love this one. It's easy, it's simple, it's delicious, it's even better the next day. But I thought I had some sour cream. I did not, so I just added some Mexican table cream on the top. It was so good, as well as some parsley and some green scallions and some homemade cornbread, and this was absolutely delicious for such a rainy day. All right, you guys, today I'm going to be making some country style ribs. Now, we don't eat pork that often unless it's like bacon or sausage, but today I'm making some pork style country ribs, and this is going to be super easy. And also, I am on my second batch of my bourbon brown sugar coffee creamer. It is so good. I just made this so it's cooling. But if you want the recipe to this, I will leave it linked in the description box down below for you guys so you can check that out. But it is so good. But we're going to start off with our ribs today. Now, you can use any kind of seasoning that you want. It really doesn't matter. Today I'm going for sweet and smoky rub, some Hot for Preacher smoked peach rub, and some orange pepper. All of these go great with pork, but again, you can use any kind of seasoning that is your favorite. And I'm just going to load these up with spices on both sides and get them nice and coated. Don't be scared to season the meat. You want this to be nice and flavorful. Right, and I'm just going to start turning this over, and we're going to do the same exact thing to the other side and get it nice and coated in that seasoning. And it smells good already, and we haven't even started cooking it yet. Now, another seasoning, if you want to try, if you can find it, I have a hard time finding it here. Typically, it's at Academy or Lowe's, is the cherry rub. It goes great with pork. So that is another option that you can try. All right. Now we've got a ton of seasoning down on the bottom of this, so I'm just going to coat it on all sides, make sure it's nice and coated in that seasoning. And then once we get this nice and coated, we're going to put some foil on this, and we're going to let this sit and dry brine, I don't know, an hour or so. But you can do however long, whatever time you got, time for. But we are going for a simple dinner today. And we're just opting for some baked barbecue style ribs. Now, if you don't know what country style ribs are, they're just like little pork cutlets in the shape of ribs. They're really, really good. And they just take a little bit longer to cook. You want them nice and tender. So that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up and set this to the side and let it kind of hang out and do its thing, and then I'll bring you back when I get it ready to go in the oven. All right, y'all, an hour later, and this is what they look like. They are ready to go in the oven. I've got my oven coming up to temperature at 325. I'm just going to cover these back up, and we're going to cook these at 325 degrees for about an hour, and just until they're nice and tender and cooked through. Should take about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. Just keep an eye on them. Typically, I will check them about an hour into the cooking process, just to make sure they're done and tender. If they're done and tender, you can take them out. It just depends on your oven. And in the meantime, I'm going to tidy up a bit. I'm going to get some barbecue sauce going. I will also leave that link for my barbecue sauce down in the description box below. But again, you can use any kind of barbecue sauce that you like or have on hand. And I'm going to figure out some vegetables to go with this. I'm thinking about doing some pasta salad and some, I don't know. We'll see when we get there. So these are going to go in the oven, and I'll show you what they look like when they get done. All right, you guys, so these are done, and I just removed them from the pan, drained off that excess liquid and fat from the pan, and then put them back in here. I also cooked up some barbecue sauce. Like I said, you can do any kind of barbecue sauce that you like. Now, to my recipe that I will leave linked down below, I just added about a quarter cup of cherry juice to that, and it's just so delicious. I'm just going to add this right to my country ribs here. Get all of that goodness out. And y'all, this sauce is delicious. Now I'm just going to kind of brush this over. And I'm going to flip them over and brush the other side with some of that sauce that is in the pan here. This smells so good. I'm so excited to eat this. I have been wanting barbecue for a while now. So that is what we're making. Just a little different. We're not doing it on the barbecue grill. We're doing it in the oven. So this is going to go back in the oven, uncovered for about 5 minutes, and then after that, everything will be good to go. I've got some extra barbecue sauce right here, just in case we need some more. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in the oven, and then dinner will be ready to go. All right, y'all, here is my plate. These country style ribs were so good and so tender. Like I said, you can do it however you want. I like doing it this way. It's so easy to just pop them in the oven and make them. And I just served that with some pasta on the side. My daughter loves asparagus, so I just made some simple asparagus, butter, salt, pepper. And I had some olives that I needed to eat up, so I added a few of those to my plate. And this was a delicious, delicious meal. We were so excited to have these ribs, and we just looked forward to it all day. It smelled so delicious cooking. Hey y'all, it's just gonna be me today. My daughter's got some stuff to do after school today. Husband is OTR, so I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm going to make a chicken salad. This is a COPYCAT chicken salad chick fruity fran with a little deviation. So I've got some cooked chicken breasts here. I've just got 2, and I just cooked it in some water, salt and pepper, very simple. And I'm going to let my stand mixer shred this up while I chop up this apple. And then I'll bring you back, and then we'll get all of this mixed together. All right, guys. So I've got my chicken all shredded up. It looks good. And I've got my apples chopped up. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding in my ingredients. In here, I'm deviating just a little bit. I've got toasted walnuts instead of grapes. I've got some celery and some pineapple tidbits that I've just got drained. I'm going to add all of this in here, as well as my apples. I'm going to add some onion powder, about 1/8 of a teaspoon. If I can reach down in there to get it, 1/8 of a teaspoon of that. And we're going to add in some salt and pepper, now seasoned to taste. You can always add more later. Okay, and I'm going to eyeball about 2/3 of a cup of mayo. I'm just going to add a little bit and kind of go from there. If I need more, I can add more. That should be good, but we'll see. We're going to go ahead and mix all of this together and then check it for a seasoning. Looks a little dry, so I'm going to add a little bit more mayo. That should do the trick. Give this another little mix. This looks and smells delicious. But we got to try this and make sure the seasoning is right. So let's get a little taste here. It needs more salt, so I'm going to add some more salt and pepper. And then I'm just going to pop this in a different bowl with a lid, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator for a little while so all the flavors can kind of meld together. And then later on, when it's dinner time, I'll bring you back and we will make a sandwich, some fries, and then I'll show you my plate. All right, you guys, here is my plate. I just toasted up some bread, a little bit of butter, popped it in a skillet, toasted it on both sides, and air fried some French fries, and kind of assembled it that way. And this was really good. Now, one thing with the chicken salad, I still found that it was missing something, so I went in and added about 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and it just made it completely different. But it was really, really good. So just add the seasonings that you want to that. But that was really, really good. We all enjoyed it. But that is going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.